Sometimes the things we invite in our lives are not what they seem. Some doors once opened never close again. Today's story is about Anya. A good client is everyone's dream. Who wouldn't want constant work and pay without any hassle? Such was Anya's luck. She received the perfect client. Their email was simple and on point. Hello, Miss Anya. Voice Media House needs folks such as yourself on board. We are a new company and we believe we can benefit from your voice. But before that, we have additional tasks if you are up for it. We would like to work on our own sound effects. Hence, the first few weeks, we will be sending you a list of sounds we need. You provide us with good quality sound. If that works, do let us know. We can discuss your compensation for the project. Regards. Anya smiled. Finally, something serious. Something that felt like opportunity knocking. Not the usual spam that went nowhere. She replied immediately, saying she was ready to start. The first task was simple enough. Record the sounds of the footsteps on a wooden floor. Anya's apartment was quiet. She set her microphone on the floor near the room's entrance and began pacing. 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. She listened to the recording afterward. Everything seemed fine. The experience was new and exhilarating. A few days later, another email arrived. Record the sound of the door closing from the inside. Anya laughed quietly. That's easy, she muttered. She pushed her bedroom door gently, letting it close with a soft click. She played it back. Again, nothing unusual. Many days went by, and Anya had fun recording a variety of sounds. The drop of a towel, the whooshing of the wind through her windows, the gentle pitter-patter of rain on the glass, faint whispers, loud screams, and bursts of laughter. To her, it felt like a dream job. All she had to do was record some sounds, and the pay was good. More than good, in fact. She would sit in her little apartment, headphones on, experimenting with everyday things to make them sound just right. The creaking of the chair, the rustling of the paper, the subtle squeaking of her old wooden floors. Everything became part of her recordings. Sometimes she made small imaginative sounds, like soft tapping on the mic, whistling just to check if they sound the same as they do to human ears. And every time she sent the recordings, the client replied promptly, always polite, always encouraging. Excellent. Keep up the good work. It was comforting, safe, normal. At least it seemed so. One evening, after recording the faint hum of the refrigerator and the tap of the teaspoon on a cup, Anya leaned back in her chair. The air behind her shifted, restless, as if unseen hands were crisscrossing through it, seeking her attention. From the corner of her eyes, she caught movement. Something that didn't belong. The goosebumps on her skin protested as she slowly turned to it. Just the familiar shadows of her apartment, long and thin in the soft lamplight. She nervously laughed. I think I'm imagining things, she said out loud, but the unease lingered. A quiet tickle at the back of her mind. The next morning, a new email arrived. We have additional requests. Please record the sounds of breathing, not just your own. Imagine someone else sharing the room with you. We look forward to your submission. Anya frowned at the line. Breathing? But not mine? How is that even? A small shiver traced her spine. She forced a smile. Okay. There's nothing a little editing can't fix. She sat by the mic, recording her own breaths in different rhythms. Shallow, heavy, uneven. Layering them all together until it almost sounded like someone else was with her. Yet as she played back the recording, there was an additional sound. She froze, straining her ears. The room was still, yet her heart thumped, as if it could hear its own echo. She believed she had been working for too long. The more she recorded, the more she edited, the more the sound seemed to linger, clinging to the corners of her apartment, ringing faintly in her ears even after she shut her laptop. Her old college professors had warned her about this.
Too much work will do this to you. Spend enough time with recordings and you start to hear things that aren't there.
She had laughed it off back then. But now later at night, sitting alone, still hearing the growl, she remembered their warnings. The next morning, she woke up to the fresh chirping of birds and muttered, So it was just fatigue. I get it. I'm tired. Nothing else. Until she heard the towel drop. The one she had left hanging on the edge of the bed after a recording session. She sat on the mattress, shoulders slumped, eyes half open. At first, only the faint whoosh of fabric brushing the air. Then she saw it, sliding off the bed and falling onto the floor. Soft, harmless. She bent to pick it up, draped it back over the edge, and it slid again. Her eyes widened. The wind from her window whistled. Then soft rain tapped against the outside walls. Each sound precise, crisp. The hiss of the towel, the gust rattling the glass, the pitter-patter of raindrops. And then laughter, crying, faint echoing. Every sound she had ever recorded seemed to shimmer into life around her. Her pulse hammered, lips parted. She wanted to move, run, scream, but her body stayed frozen, suspended in disbelief, while the noise filled the room, echoing in her skull like a relentless metronome, growing louder and louder. A new email. She wiped her clammy hands and opened it, half expecting something mundane. We noticed your last submissions. Excellent work. For the next task, please record the sounds of objects moving on their own. We are curious how you capture such natural unpredictability. Regards, Voice Media House. She shut her laptop, pulled off the headphones, and sat very still. She could hear her own breathing, ragged, louder than it should have been, and hidden inside it, faintly, were whispers. Someone was talking, very subtle, very faint. Anya had learned long ago to ignore the small oddities of apartment life. The creaking floor, the loose vent in the corners, the occasional flicker of a bulb. But tonight they all pressed in on her. Sharper, louder, impossible to pretend away. Needing to calm herself, she went back to the laptop, putting on her microphone and recording a few lines of her own voice. When she played it back, her heart lurched. Beneath her words, someone else was there. A soft, steady voice, almost a whisper, but urgent, repeating her name. Anya's fingers shook as she typed the reply to the client. I'm not sure if I understand the task fully. Almost immediately, another email arrived. We trust your instincts. Sometimes observation is better than instruction. Keep listening. Observation? Listening? The words wrapped around her mind like threads, tugging at all the edges of her sanity. The apartment, once familiar and safe, now felt like it had a mind of its own. She stared at the towel again. It fell, arose, fell, arose, all by itself. Her eyes widened as she realized it wasn't just the towel. Other objects such as her notebook, her cup, even the lamp shifted ever so slightly after she moved her gaze elsewhere. The room had learned her patterns and was repeating them now. She couldn't take it anymore. She immediately stuffed some cotton balls into her ears and everything stopped. The fridge stopped humming. The towel laid still. Nothing creaked. Nothing whispered. Nothing fell. The sudden stillness was almost a blessing. For the first time in weeks, a thin, unexpected relief spread across her chest. She let herself sink into it like warm water. Almost immediately, she drifted into sleep. When she woke up, the morning light had turned the edges of the room pale gold. Everything stayed at its place. The room wasn't noisy anymore. For a brief, fragile moment, she thought she'd imagined it all. Then she saw the red light. Her microphone. It had been left on the whole night. The recording timer blinked at her. 8 hours, 17 minutes, 43 seconds. Her stomach lurched. The mic had recorded everything. And everyone. She stared at the blinking timer on the screen. Her finger hovered above the space bar. She almost didn't want to know what she had captured. But curiosity won. She slipped on her headphones, dragged the marker across the audio file, and fast forwarded. At first, it was just her own life, compressed into statics and squeaks. Her breathing, the fridge clicking, the crickets crying, all sped up until it became one long jittery hiss. Then, at the 43-minute mark, something changed. A second layer of sound bled through. Whispers stretched thin by the speed. Several someones speaking, their syllables slipping over each other like water. She froze. They had been learning their ways of this world. In the reflection of her dark laptop screen, she thought she saw a moment, a shape, standing just behind her chair. When she turned, there was nothing. But in the coffee beside her, the surface trembled, a pale outline drifting across it like a face glimpsed through dirty glass. She turned on the screen and fast forwarded again. With each jump, the whispers thickened and the reflection deepened. The mirror above her desk showed a room that wasn't her room. The laptop screen flickered with figures that were not there. Even the tea in her mug seemed to hold a shadow. It was as if, with every push of the arrow key, whatever she recorded was crawling back out, not just through the speakers, but into her apartment. She snatched off the headphones. The room was silent again, but the shapes didn't go away. And this is how, my dear children, Anya had unknowingly invited someone she didn't even know. Someone patient, someone quiet, someone who waited in the shadows, watching every move, every breath, and every sound she made. Even now, if you listen closely, if you sit quietly in your room and breathe just a little too loud, you might hear them waiting, whispering, learning your ways to replace you.